the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
From the E.F. Martin Heating and Air Studios, this is Fox Sports.
Fox Sports Trending now.
At the first round of the PGA Championship in Charlotte, Thorbjorn Olesen with a 67 leads by 1 stroke. Brooks Koepka is tied for second. Ricky Fowler currently 2 strokes back with 4 holes still to go at his first round. Adam Scott is 4 back with a couple holes still to play. And 5 shots back, Rory McIlroy. He still has 4 holes to go in his first round. When you're ready to experience a better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar.com today. The NBA will play a regular season game in London in January. Celtics versus 76ers this time. It'll be the league's 8th regular season game there all time. Zach Randolph, now with Sacramento, was out on bail this morning after his felony arrest for marijuana last night in L.A. There are 7 NFL preseason games tonight. Colts center Ryan Kelly is on crutches after an injury in practice. Baseball wins today for the Reds and Pirates. I'm Steve DeSager.
That's win to 200-200.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set, just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
Finally, Clemson Sports Talk has come back to Columbia. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan, Lowell the Intern, 316 Greystone Boulevard. Clemson Sports Talk, a show that talks about Clemson sports for you here in the Midlands. 803-978-1832. Lowell, are the phone lines working? Let me send it over to you real quick just to find out what we got going on. Lowell the Intern, what's up, buddy? Early and often into the program, he is here.
Bada boom, realest champs in the room. How you doing?
Lowell, do you remember when I mentioned several months ago to the people about the CS takeover?
I do. I recall. Something. There's a little something in there.
Part of this goes back to our good friend Tim Brando, who basically was on the program one day and said, a lot of people in your industry don't do it the right way, but you do. Tim Brando said that to me, and he sparked something inside of me, Lowell. He sparked something inside of me that's got me ready to rock and roll. And the hashtag CS Takeover is underway. You know the great thing about it? It is a veiled takeover, Lowell, meaning that it's happening and people don't even know it. Lowell the Intern in the building, Lowell the producer, whatever you want to call him, the artist formerly known as Intern, hanging out with us today. The Clemson Tigers came off the practice field earlier. Lowell the Intern / producer. So, what do you want to go by, Lowell? Just Lowell? Lowell was on the scene? You got to admit, Lowell the Intern was a heck of a gimmick you had for 3 years here on the program.
Yeah, and you know, I thought about keeping it, considered keeping it, but I was informed by our senior writer Zach Lentz that I should not keep it, and so now we have changed the Twitter handle.
Did our senior writer inform you about shaving and just taking care of yourself regularly?
You know what's great about radio? When you don't have that camera on me, no one knows what I look like.
Clemson polo. That's what he's wearing.
Yep.
So you were in Tiger Town today, and of course I know everybody tuning in to hear about what's going on with the Clemson Tigers. Lowell, your thoughts on the vibe? I know you heard from Trey Lamar, you heard from Dabo Swinney, you talked to Jeff Scott. I'm sure I'm missing some other people. And again, those videos over on our website and also on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. Any stupendous takeaways from Lowell the Intern? Again, it is still early. The Tigers just in pads for what I believe is now the third practice. But anything that you came out of there today thinking to yourself, well, that was an interesting tidbit. That was a nice news nugget.
There was nothing earth-shattering, but I think the biggest takeaway I had was Coach Sweeney talking about the tight ends, saying that, they would have some days where they were up, they would have some days where they were down, but they hadn't had a, complete day yet where they did everything right. He said today the tight ends were doing everything right, and so that's got to be an encouraging sign because that's one of the biggest question marks on the offensive side of the ball outside of tight end.
No.
I mean, outside of quarterback.
No, you're right, and I think the value that a guy like Jordan Leggett gave this team a couple of years ago, last season, but also several years ago when he kind of came into his own at that tight end position, is something that Clemson's going to need. I'm with you 100% on that. Dabo Sweeney saying, I gave a shout-out to the tight ends and the cornerbacks after practice when I spoke with the team. The tight ends had their best day of camp today. They had their best day catching the ball and blocking. They have to do a good job for us to be effective in the play action. Lowell, listening to Dabo Sweeney, again, sometimes it's difficult to discern whether a positive comment is about building up people who maybe didn't have the greatest day. Sometimes it's hard to wonder if a negative comment from Dabo Sweeney is about getting a guy who had a pretty good day to stay a little bit humble. So coaches use different tactics to come after these guys, to keep them motivated, to keep them fighting, to keep them aggressive, to keep them focused on the task at hand. And right now, for all you Clemson Tiger fans, the good news is this team, by all accounts, is talented. And I don't mean just talented in the Atlantic Coast Conference sense. I mean talented in the national sense, talented in the ability to compete for another run at the college football playoff. And it's something I want to start the program with. We'll get to Deshaun Watson later because I was way off on my Deshaun Watson take. Way off on my DW4 takes yesterday here on the program.
And I believe I was pretty on point with mine.
Well, he played a lot more. Well, and I don't want to go there yet, but he played a lot more than I expected. I'll tell you that. He didn't play better than I expected, though. He played about where I thought he would play. But, man, Tom Savage, look out. I said game 4. I said game 4 for Deshaun Watson being the starter. Are you buying into that hype yet? But I was shocked at how much he played yesterday, but he looked really good. I also, for the first time ever, I'm not talking Deshaun. Lowell, please make me talk Deshaun Watson after we have Clemson Tom on in a few minutes.
Bad. No Deshaun Watson.
Back to Clemson for a minute. And I want to talk about this because I think this is an important aspect of where we are in college football. And I said this to you before the program. I do not believe that college football is the same as it was several years ago. And I know we've changed in terms of the BCS and now with the college football playoff. But what I really think has happened in a lot of respects, and maybe I'm just completely wrong on this, but for the majority of the years in the BCS, it truly was about what you did and what you had to do to get into the BCS championship was probably go undefeated. I mean, it was pretty much you go undefeated or you're not getting in. And the thing about that was that even if you had just one blemish on your schedule, if somebody else went undefeated, you were pretty much done. If Southern Cal and Alabama were undefeated and you were a one-loss Texas team, there was no way you were going to get in. Even if you you might have been the best team. Would you agree with that, Lowell? That it is conceivable that the top two teams in the old BCS system, two undefeated teams playing for the national championship, and I don't know how many times in the BCS era that happened. You could look that up. But is it not conceivable that one of the best two teams in the country may have just had a day where they took a loss?
I can give you a perfect example right now if you'd like.
Well, I'm sure you would. Go for it.
2011, when you had the rematch of the game of the century.
Yeah.
I'm throwing up air quotes.
Yes.
The game of the century. Alabama and LSU. Oklahoma State, I thought, was a better team than LSU. Or a better team than Alabama, actually. One of them. I can't remember which one lost. Alabama lost that game. They had a loss at that
Alabama
point.
had the loss.
My argument was Oklahoma State should have gotten in because they hadn't, Alabama had the shot. They didn't get it done. Oklahoma State should have gotten in. Oklahoma State took a loss to Iowa State on like a Thursday night on the road. This on the heels of, I think, I want to say like their women's basketball team got into a plane crash. And so there's a lot going on that you have to consider.
I remember that.
And I thought Oklahoma State should have been in the national championship. I think they went on to beat Stanford and Andrew Luck in a bowl game. And I thought they were one of the top 2 teams in the country, and they should have had a shot at the national championship.
So we can both admit, and I remember that happening, but not just offhand. We can both admit that there have been seasons in the BCS era where the top team may have lost a game, and in this scenario, it would not have been 2 undefeateds that were playing for the national title.
No.
But the scenario I presented, one of them was not a conference champion. That was one other aspect of it all in Alabama, who would win that national championship, by the way. But where we are today in college football, back then to me, it really was about you. I mean, it really was. If you went undefeated and everybody else took a loss, you were going to work your way in. But you had to go undefeated. I mean, you had to go undefeated. I mean, basically. Well, now where it shifted, in my opinion, is as much as it really is about you, you can now take a loss and have everybody else around you sort of fall off. See, back then with 2 teams just getting in, if you were that Oklahoma State team, they couldn't afford that loss because so much else would have had to happen. LSU would have had to lose again. Alabama sitting at home not playing. There wasn't a whole lot they could do outside of winning that game. Nowadays, it's about you, but it's also so much more about everybody else because there are 4 teams that get in. So I think it is different because the window is open. And I hope I was able to explain what I'm saying to people. And what I mean by that is, as good as you could have been in the BCS era, you may have had one bad day. You may have still been the best team, but you got left out. In this scenario, same thing happens. You don't get left out, and then you can then go forward and play through the playoff and win the championship because you're the best team. You just have one bad game.
Do you know what's kind of ironic about this situation from my perspective? I thought when college football expanded to the playoff, or when there were talks about expanding to the playoff, I was hoping that Clemson would get their shot while the BCS era was still around, because I thought it was easier to make the national championship in the BCS era because all you had to do was take care of your business and you would be in the national championship game.
It's funny. I'll agree with that statement. I think it was probably easier to get to the championship game
rather than having to go against
in the old format.
2 of the top teams in the country now in the playoffs.
Right, exactly. But the fact that now it's easier to get into the playoff and you only have to win 2 games. Now, I know that may not make a lot of sense to everybody, and I understand that. But I'm with you, Lowell. In the old situation, it was easier to get to the championship game because all you had to do was handle your business, but you had to go undefeated for the most. I mean, that was the hard part of that. That was where it was hard, and I would argue harder. You had to go undefeated. You lose to Pitt last season in the BCS era, you're not in it. You're not in it. And unfortunately, that's the way it was. In this era, it opens it up. And now you get a chance to get in, and what did Clemson do? They went in and won it. As a matter of fact, the number 1 team has yet to win the College Football Playoff National Championship. The number 4 team has won it, and the number 2 team in the playoff has won it twice. Ohio State, then Alabama, and then Clemson. 1 and 3 have never won it. But in terms of, I guess, Clemson was the 3 this year. So 4 has won it, 2 has won it, 3 has won it.
Number 1 has not
Number
won it.
1 has not won it. So Clemson was 3 playing number 2 Ohio State this season. So 3.
No, that's wrong. Clemson was number 2. Clemson was number 2. Ohio State got moved up to 3.
You're right. That's right. So it was Clemson 2.
Yeah.
Alabama 2. So, okay, so I was right on that the first time through. Thank you, Mr. Lowell, the producer, intern, / whatever you are. So 3 and 1 have never won it. But I guess in terms of the college football playoff and what that's allowed now is not a blemish, but like you said, it's made it where the opportunity to get into that playoff is better for everybody than that narrow window to get to that championship. It was arguably easier to get to the championship, but now the chance to get an opportunity to play, I think, in that playoff opens up more opportunities to win more titles, if that makes sense. Because now in the Atlantic Coast Conference, Clemson and Florida State, who I think are head and shoulders above everybody else, have a legitimate chance every year, one of those 2 teams. Every year. It's going to take a heck of a season for Clemson and Florida State to either not be in the college football playoff. Because right now, to see another team in the Atlantic Coast Conference keep them out, it would take a loss most likely in the ACC championship game. I mean, that's where Clemson and Florida State could either be eliminated because of, one, how close that is to the national championship and the playoffs, or to the playoffs and the national championship. But ultimately, that's a potential second loss some seasons for those teams as well. But as long as Clemson and Florida State win the Atlantic Coast Conference, one of those 2 teams is probably going to be in the playoff the majority of the seasons that the playoff continues to exist. And once you get there, you just got to win 2 games. Which, if you think about being 2 games away from the national title, that's going to happen a lot more times, in my opinion, for Clemson in the college football playoff era than it ever was in the BCS era. Even though I agree, easier to get to the championship game in the BCS era, getting into that playoff and getting a shot to be 2 games away from the title, much easier now. 803-978-1832. Phone lines are not working today. Lowell, the intern, has confirmed. We've got Clemson Tom coming up. As confusing as that is, Lowell, I agree. Old system. Easier to get to the championship game.
Well, the schedule comes out every year, and back then I was younger and had more hope than I do now. I would look at the schedule and go, okay, Clemson can run the table on this thing and make it to the championship game. And right now, I think if this was the BCS era, I think that would be a legitimate thought if you're a Clemson fan. Yeah, we can do this thing. We can make it to the championship in the BCS. No problem. We just got to take care of our business, and we're in.
But one stub toe in this era, and you're in a bad spot. I mean, you're really in a bad spot. Matter of fact, surprisingly, Clemson was number 2 in that release of the poll because most people thought Ohio State was going to be number 2. I don't know, man. I just think that nowadays, even though you have to go through a tougher final 2 games, the opportunity and the chance for Clemson Tiger fans to see them play in the national championship, it's probably going to happen more times than not. given where they are ranked in the kind of pecking order of the Atlantic Coast Conference. We come back with Clemson Tom right after this.
Win your trip to our 2017 iHeart Radio Music Festival, hosted by Ryan Seacrest.
Let's go!
Over 20 of the greatest performers on the planet. September 22nd and 23rd at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Listen to Win Your Trip.
Vegas!
Introducing new M&M's brand caramel candies. Or is it caramel? No matter how you say it, they're delicious. Unsquare caramel or caramel with new M&M's brand caramel candies today.
Need custom shirts, hats, or uniforms? How about promotional giveaways for your business or organization? Need fast turnaround times? Look no further than Meridian Printing and Promotions. Located in Lexington, they provide an in-house art department, in-house screen printing, and in-house embroidery services to the Midlands and beyond. For the absolute best quality products and services, contact Meridian Printing and Promotions, 785-4990. Check them out online, mbspromo.com.
Love it raw? For the freshest sushi in town, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, 807 Gervais Street in the Vista. Sakatumi's flavorful grill for non-sushi fans features the Kobe burger, filet and lobster, chicken hibachi, and more. Fresh sushi, flavorful grill, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, sakifresh.com.
Hi, my name is Donald Kidwell, current owner of CrossFit Iron Mary's. After finding CrossFit in 2012, I lost 128 pounds. At CrossFit Iron Mary's, you're not a barcode, you're an actual person. Where you are now is not important, where you want to be is. 3 locations to reach your fitness goals in Columbia: the Old Mill in Lexington, Trotter Road in West Columbia, and downtown near the Carolina Baseball Stadium. Check us out online at CrossFitIronMarys.com or give us a call at 803-414-9601. Set up your first set of free classes today at CrossFit Iron Mary's, 803-414-9601.
What's on today's itinerary for the Jones family? Taking care of their back-to-school list.
Laptop setup? Yep. Flash drives? Yep.
That's Dad taking care of business. But who takes care of Dad? Office Depot Office Max. This week only, all HP PCs are on sale. Save $240 when you buy an HP laptop with Intel Core i7 for just $459. Office Depot Office Max.
Taking care of business.
Hurry, ends 8/12.
Follow Clemson Sports Talk on Twitter at Clemson Sports. Now more of Clemson Sports Talk. Take it away, Dad.
Lawton Swan, Lowell the intern. Lowell, real quick, want to ask you, I during the break I said to Lowell, I think I confused myself to the point of where I probably confused the listener. Help me explain my take on the BCS era versus the college football playoff era.
You're
in layman's terms, what was I trying to get across?
The point you're trying to make is that in the BCS era, you almost need to be perfect to make the national championship game. In the playoff era, you can take a loss along the way and still make it into the playoff.
And that gives you a better chance to win the championship. While I think it would have been easier to get to the BCS, championship, the problem is you could not stump your toe at all.
And by the way, I'm looking back to see how many one-loss teams made it into the BCS national championship.
Give me that Nebraska-Colorado game. I remember that game. That was a Thanksgiving game.
2001, Miami and Nebraska played in the national championship, and Nebraska had a loss going into it. And so I wanted to see what their loss was. They lost 62-36 to Colorado in their last game and got selected for the national championship. So there must have been nobody even close to good that year.
Can you imagine 62-36 and you still get into the championship? I don't remember the uproar, but it had to be tremendous. Clemson Tom joins us here on Clemson Sports Talk tonight. CT, what's going on, bud?
Not much, man. Just hanging out, listening to you guys talk about Nebraska, Colorado. Lowell's bringing it back. Lowell, what are you, like 5 when that came out?
Probably younger.
Not quite 5. I was a little bit older than 5.
you imagine a little Lowell, 5 years old, with that big hat on his head, just running around spitting out stats to his mama. And his mama's just, that's my baby Lowell. Just, he's going to like his sport. He just loves that hat.
I was actually 9. I was 9 at the time.
You're 9.
Tom, listen, I'll tell you, it's funny because I remember that game, and even back then I had EA Sports college football, and I simulated it. And on my simulation of that game, Colorado just beat the mess out of Nebraska, and nobody thought that was going to happen. And then they actually went on the field and did it. I think that was the first time my dad, who at the time would have been, in his probably, boy, Dad, don't kill me on this, 60s, maybe 70s, early 70s. My dad looked at me and he said, wow, these video games, they get it pretty close. I said, yeah, Dad, they're getting better.
Yeah, I actually remember that game as well. A friend of mine I grew up with in high school went to the University of Miami, and I remember watching that game with him. And typical Miami fashion, he had a bottle of Moet champagne that he popped when they won.
Nice.
Like, all right, cool, we're drinking champagne, drinking some Moet.
Clemson Tom joining us here on Clemson Sports Talk. And Tom, I got to ask you, the Tigers took to the field again today. They've been in pads for a few days now. I know you're a guy that played a little football back in the day. What are those first initial days like for athletes when they finally get a chance to suit up and go pad on pad?
It's a little jittery. It's also just kind of taking the hits again. I mean, your body's healed. It's one of those things you got to, boxers probably say it the best. By round 3, you got the jitters out, you've been hit, in the mouth a little bit, you got hit in the arms, the body, and you feel kind of ready to go. I think that's what it was like after a while. Once the pads go on, you're just kind of waiting for those initial hits to come out. You got to get hit again. You got to get accustomed to that. But after that, man, it's like, all right, I'm ready to get after it. And, once the pads start popping, you feel good. Well,
and the coaching staff is cross-training a little bit. Ray McLeod, who has played his entire career at wide receiver, now doing a little bit of work at cornerback. And Brent Venables saying the other day that, hey, we recruited him kind of as a cornerback potentially to play that role. Do you think ultimately this is going to be something that's going to happen for Ray McLeod, or do you think this is just more about, okay, this Clemson Tiger team giving him an opportunity to maybe showcase his skills?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think a lot of it has to do with the injury standpoint. And, I mean, he's an athlete. The kid can pretty much do anything except for field punch properly, but that's just me speaking. Every time he goes back for a punt, my heart skips a few beats.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, the kid can cover just about anybody. I mean, he's just as fast as any wide receiver. He's just as athletic as any other wide receiver. I think he just needs to stick with one position, but at this point it could just be more of a conditioning thing. Could just be, I mean, look at our wide receivers right now. We're almost stacked. You're almost just thinking about, what can we do to add depth somewhere else. So it could be a little bit of everything, but if I'm a betting man, I'd bet you $20 he lines up at receiver more than anything.
Clemson Tom here on Clemson Sports Talk tonight. And Tom, yesterday was a big night for Clemson fans, especially those that made it up to Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte for the Houston Texans and the Carolina Panthers game. In terms of Deshaun Watson's night, I'm sure you had a chance to see it. Just some of your initial takeaways.
The first thing I did notice, I didn't think he'd go out there and light it up. I thought he would do well. One thing that I noticed that really blew me away was his knowledge of the pre-snap, routines, kind of going through everything. I mean, he walked up to his line his first snap. He already called an audible. He called a coverage scheme. I mean, it was like he never missed a beat. Part of me was just like, we're playing Georgia Tech again? Like, he knew everything he needed to know. Talking with my guys out in Houston, he's grasped that playbook extremely well. He's ahead of the curve when it comes to that. I know the language is a little bit different. That's something he's working on. But from what I saw last night, how he isn't the starter week 1, I don't know. He gives them the best chance to win.
Well, and the thing I said earlier this year is I thought it was going to be Game 4. I thought it would be pretty early on in the season that he takes over from Tom Savage. Other people, guys that you would label experts, I guess, around the NFL, think it'll be a good bit later in the year. Based on what I saw last night, and we didn't get to see much of Tom Savage, I didn't think it was close right now between those two. I thought Deshaun Watson was clearly
I didn't think it was
better.
either. Yeah, he was clearly better. I know his run for the touchdown was the first Texans quarterback that rushed for a touchdown since like 2008 or something like that. Wow. So I mean, his ability to scramble and his ability to extend the play and his ability to, run for it is something that's going to give their offense obviously a different dynamic than what they've ever had. Yeah, I don't see how he is not starting week 1. I mean, unless they just want to, just have him learn the playbook a little bit better. Don't want to throw him straight to the wolves. But even last night, he looked like he'd been running the offense for a few years.
Listen, I'm with you. I thought, I'll be honest, I didn't think he looked like a rookie. I thought he looked like a guy that's been around the league for a while.
Yeah, he looked like a guy that's been there about 3-4 years. I mean, nothing. He didn't blow me out of the water with, oh my God, I can't believe he did that, because he was Deshaun just being Deshaun, and maybe we're a little bit spoiled. But I thought he handled it well. His poise and his leadership are something I never have ever questioned. It was more like just learning the playbook, learning the language, calling the schemes on the line, which he did extremely well in my opinion, calling audibles and just knowing where guys needed to be. And I mean, that first pass that he threw a little bit deep to the tight end, I mean, he overthrew him, but I mean, I'm probably going to overthrow just about anybody in my first NFL game. You got the juices are flowing, the adrenaline's pumping. He probably could have launched that thing all the way to Greenville, North Carolina if he wanted to that night.
About 30 seconds left, Tom. Talk about the Clemson Tiger fans that made their way over. It was pretty impressive, just as being, a guy that a lot of times is out in front of Clemson Tiger Nation. Your thoughts on the turnout?
It was great. My mom was out there. She actually sat next to Davian Clowney's mom, which the Lord has a sense of humor for that. No, she said there's more orange. There's more orange than anything. A cadence count broke out multiple times. I mean, we were there cheering on our guys. I mean, for anyone to say that we don't have good fans, obviously doesn't pay attention, because we were there not only to support Deshaun, but Ben, who was there for the Panthers, and everybody else that's with the Texans. I mean, it's almost like the university. The university just ships all their players to the Texans, it looks like.
There you go. Clemson Tom. Follow him on Twitter at Clemson Tom. Tom, we'll talk to you again next week, buddy.
All right, brother. Thanks.
Man, closing in on the college football season here on the show that shakes the Southland. I want to talk about the fans. I want to talk about Charlotte. I want to talk about Deshaun Watson and Carolina Panthers and Houston Texans and all that good stuff when we get back.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman-Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
Hey guys, Lawton Swan here. I was hanging out in the backyard with my son Mason the other day, and he said, "Dad, you're the best father ever." I was like, "What makes you say that, son?" He said, "When I go outside to play now, I don't get eaten up by the bugs anymore." Imagine that, me, a hero, when all I did was just a couple of weeks ago call Trey Powell at Mosquito Joe with their routine service plan. No more bugs and no more bites. Make yourself the family hero. Call Mosquito Joe today, 803-223-7916. Outside is fun again.
When a stroke happens, every second counts. So don't drive and call 911 to get to the emergency department as soon as possible. At Lexington Medical Center, we're pleased to serve our community. As a certified primary stroke center, our acute stroke team rapidly evaluates patients and provides them with the fastest treatment possible. This specialized care limits the chance of brain damage and gives stroke patients a better chance of full recovery. Act quickly at the first sign of a stroke and count on the Stroke Center at Lexington Medical Center to provide you with the best possible care.
Do you want a pharmacy that treats you like a person and not just a number? Then let Craig and Lori at Southlake Drug show you what a pharmacy should be. Fast, friendly, and professional. Southlake Drug can transfer your prescriptions and take the hassle out of getting your medicine and getting you on your way. Southlake Drug takes all major insurance programs, including Medicare, Medicaid, and state employees, and they provide immunization services, including flu shots with no wait and no appointment. Southlake Drug, 1856 Southlake Drive in the Food Line Shopping Center, 399-7701, or southlakedrug.com.
The clouds will linger overnight and the lows will dip down to the low 70s. Tomorrow there will be some pokes of sun, but some scattered late-day storms will be in play as well, and highs mid to upper 80s. For Channel 25 ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is brought to you by Whole Foods Market.
Summer savings continues at Whole Foods Market. Summer's ripest organic red, green, or black seedless grapes are just $1.69 per pound and bursting with flavor and vitamin C. Stop in and save today at your local Whole Foods Market.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk, your iHeart Radio home for the Clemson Tigers. winners of the 2017 National Championship game.
Kane is in the building.
Yes, sir. Ballers in the building. Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan, Lowell the intern.
You could call us the Big Baller brand.
Hello. Let's see here. At Clemson Sports, at Lowell CST, at CST Show. Not confusing at all.
At CST Big Baller.
Is there a day? Is there a day and age where CST Show just becomes the Twitter account for the show? Like we get to the point that it's so big that finally, I do have a personal Twitter account. I'm not at liberty to give that out and divulge that information at this time.
I believe I know your Twitter account, actually. I'll have to find it. Yep, there it is. Found it.
Yikes. All right, Lowell the intern. Last night, nearly 72,000 fans bought tickets to the Carolina Panthers Houston Texans game. A lot of people wearing orange. So impressive. A lot of people in orange. I got to admit, Deshaun Watson was much better than I expected. I said that earlier. I thought that he would do well, but I didn't expect him to play as much as he did. But kudos to the Clemson Tiger fans who made their way out there. And, you know, it wasn't just Tiger fans who were impressed with Deshaun Watson, because the news coming out today about his performance, people are all over him. As a matter of fact, Skip Bayless thinks Deshaun Watson will be the best Texans quarterback in history. Now, the Texans haven't been what you would say great in terms of quarterback play throughout the years, and they really haven't been in the league all that long either. So I don't think this is much of a reach. But do you think after one game, is it safe to say Deshaun Watson is going to be the best quarterback in the history of the Houston Texans?
That's a jump. It's a pretty big jump. Matt Schaub had some pretty good years with the Texans.
He did, and then he turned into an interception machine.
He did do that.
I'm not sure what happened to him. David Carr, Schaub, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brian Hoyer, and Brock Osweiler.
Matt Schaub always threw interceptions. It was just the last couple of years, those interceptions started turning into pick sixes and not just interceptions.
Yeah. Matt Leinart, man, can you believe his career wasn't more in the NFL? He was one of their quarterbacks at one point.
Yes, I can believe it.
Hard to believe. Boy, he could sling it back in the collegiate days. Which leads me to our next question, Lowell. You brought this up yesterday. This may be a poll question. Better downfield passer, Lowell. DW4 or TB10?
Down the field?
Deep ball.
We're not taking anything else into account. We're not taking, running ability. We're not going to take mental toughness. We're going strictly who threw the best deep ball.
Who threw the best deep ball?
Taj Boyd threw one of the prettiest deep balls I've ever seen.
But? Oh, there's no but.
There's no but. That's it. Yeah. I'm picking Taj Boyd.
Taj Boyd.
Yeah,
TB10
no
greater than DW4
down the field
in the downfield passing game.
I don't recall Taj Boyd ever like when Taj would take a shot down the field, it was usually on the money. There's not many.
Is it possible? Is it possible that TB10 threw a better downfield ball, but DW4 threw the best downfield ball you ever saw in a Clemson uniform? Come on, man. The videos are out on YouTube yesterday, these two guys riding around together, or Instagram or wherever. Maybe it was Tuesday. Jamon Hopper, Deshaun Watson versus North Carolina.
That one was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Downplay it. Oh, yeah, that was an okay pass.
No,
I mean,
no, that was a very pretty ball in his first start of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was a pretty good ball.
Davey D23 hanging out in our chat room over on our Slack channel says, I remember Taj at Syracuse. What was that, like a 99-yard touchdown or something?
To Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, I think it was 92.
And it was funny because
it was
Sammy was kind of hobbled, so he wasn't even running full speed on the thing.
You know, there are certain teams that when you play them, you just know Clemson's going to light them up this day and age.
Can I tell you, my dad was nervous as all get out going into that game, and I was like, dude, relax. It's not even going to be close. And then it's 7-0, 14-0, and he's like, I'm still not comfortable. And then it's 21-28. He's like, all right, I'm good now.
It's so funny because, and I sincerely mean this to our Gamecocks, Bulldogs, Yellow Jackets, Seminoles. You guys have been there before, but really South Carolina and Georgia, and a lot of other people listening, that their teams haven't been quite where Clemson is in recent years in terms of the success on the field. I got to admit, it's pretty impressive when you just roll out there and you're both playing D1 college football and you're just shredding teams. Not the squeak by games. And I know Clemson had their handful of those on their way to the national championship last year, but those games that you go out there and it's 35-3 at the half and you're going, well, do you fans are sitting there in the stands going, do you want to just go out to the tailgate and tailgate a little bit and watch another game on the television, or do you want to actually come back in after that half because you're putting the 32-point beat down on somebody at the break? That's kind of where Clemson's been. Now, I know there were a lot of close games last season. But, man, I tend to agree about Taj Boyd throwing the better downfield ball.
And I just thought of another one, by the way.
For Taj?
For Taj.
Yeah.
You go back to Tallahassee in 2012, opening drive of the game, throws the ball. It's probably a 50-yard pass in the air to DeAndre Hopkins, who catches it about the 10 and runs in the rest of the way. But he drops it in over, I guess, it might have been Joyner playing the safety spot.
Yeah.
And he
I remember that.
He dropped
when
it in
and
there.
nobody thought Clemson was going to win that game. And, of course, they didn't win that game.
But they were up at the half.
We had the little trick play with Andre Ellington?
It was was it a reverse to Sammy, and then he threw it to Andre Ellington?
All I know is when Nuke Hopkins scored that first touchdown, because everybody was, Florida State. You ever slapped your chest so hard you felt like the Nature Boy Ric Flair got a hold of you? I slapped my chest so.
But that was a perfect example. He threw dimes down the field.
Man, I tell you what else made him look so good was how much more rotation they had on them than what Deshaun Watson throws. We're back in 3 on Fox Sports Radio.
Win your trip to our 2017 iHeart Radio Music Festival, hosted by Ryan Seacrest. Over 20 of the greatest performers on the planet. September 22nd and 23rd at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Listen to Win Your Trip.
Brought to you by Ulta Beauty. From makeup to fragrance, skincare to hair care, and even a full-service salon, at Ulta Beauty, you'll find all your favorite brands like Urban Decay, Tarte, NYX, and more. Ulta Beauty. All things beauty, all in one place.
Need custom shirts, hats, or uniforms? How about promotional giveaways for your business or organization? Need fast turnaround times? Look no further than Meridian Printing and Promotions. Located in Lexington, they provide an in-house art department, in-house screen printing, and in-house embroidery services to the Midlands and beyond. For the absolute best quality products and services, contact Meridian Printing and Promotions, 785-4990. Check them out online, mbspromo.com.
For 28 years, the professional staff of the Hobbs Group and Hobbs Group Advisors has been dedicated to helping others achieve their financial goals by delivering quality, objective financial and accounting solutions to a diverse client base of individuals and businesses all over South Carolina. We offer tax and audit services, bookkeeping, payroll, litigation support, employee benefits, personal financial planning, investment management, and insurance services. Please call us at 803-799-0555 or visit our website, hobbscpa.com, to learn more about our people and services.
ColumbiaHelpWanted.com salutes the employee of the month, the one employee you can't live without. The others, let's just call them Dave.
Dave, why have you been shredding for hours?
The boss said we should cut costs, Mr. Employee of the Month.
How does this cut costs?
These are the expense reports for the whole year.
You shredded them all?
Thanks to me, our expenses this year are zero.
If you don't mind hiring Daves, go to the national job boards. They may be free, but trust us, they'll cost you. We make it easy to post a job, and it's local, so you won't get spammed by faraway job seekers. ColumbiaHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work. ColumbiaHelpWanted.com salutes the employee of the month, the one employee you can't live without. The others, let's just call them Dave.
Dave, are you stealing from the vending machine?
No, Mr. Employee of the Month.
Well, your desk is littered with like hundreds of snacks.
I merely exposed a loophole by reaching my arm through the flap thingy. Does that sound like stealing to you?
Yes.
Granola bar?
If you don't mind hiring Daves, go to the national job boards. They may be free, but trust us, they'll cost you. We make it easy to post a job, and it's local, so you won't get spammed by faraway job seekers. ColumbiaHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work.
Tiger fans, look no further than the Tiger Sports Shop in Clemson for all your game day gear. Since 1974, they brought you everything Clemson for the Clemson fan. With quality brand names such as Nike, Under Armour, Antigua, Ping, and many more. From hats to t-shirts to tailgate, the Tiger Sports Shop has all the Clemson apparel a true Tiger fan needs. With 2 convenient game day locations in Tigertown, shop where I shop at I Am Ibrahim's Tiger Sports Shop. They fuel the passion of Tiger fans everywhere. Check them out online, tigersports.com.
For more information about contests on this station, go to foxsportsradio1400.com/rules. Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show now at 978-1832 or text 803-450-0086.
A record of the delightful piece they're going to play this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, 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 your attention, please. Your attention, please. Attention, please.
And now the moment we've been waiting for is here.
I have something to tell you.
Que sera, sera, ladies and gentlemen, the best ball downfield. Watson versus Boyd, and we don't have a phone line. Dang. This would have been the night to have the phone line, wouldn't it?
Charlie threw a pretty good downfield ball, too.
Well, I thought about putting the old clipboard Jesus in there in our poll, but I didn't want him to run away with it. He's sort of legendary. Charlie Whitehurst is sort of like the Slinky. Okay? It's no longer the best toy, but everybody's still got to buy one, right? Everybody still wants a Slinky. 803.
You know what the problem with this poll is that you've put out?
Yeah, the problem is I don't have a phone line. I keep wanting to give out the phone number.
Well, that too. That too. But also you're gonna have some recency bias in this poll.
How could there be recency bias?
Because Deshaun Watson just won a national championship.
Throwing deep balls? Did I miss the deep balls?
I'm just saying.
If it's whose wide receivers went up and made up for his miscues, that would be Deshaun Watson. DW4, if you're listening, this is all a gimmick. Without Mike Williams, what was Clemson? Not a champion. They were runner-up.
Wow.
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 I mean, come on.
Is this Swanee's hot take?
Swanee's hot take. Taj Boyd would have won 2 titles. That's my hot take. I mean, I really think that, man, both those guys were pretty good. We're pretty fortunate to get to see both of them. The thing is, can you imagine this? Imagine a year from now if Trevor Lawrence is everything that people have cracked him up to be. And I don't mean Clemson Tiger Nation, Clemson people. I mean national pundits saying that he's the best player to come out of Georgia.
Including Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. By the way, this kid from Gainesville is in Georgia named Deshaun Watson. He's pretty good. You may have heard of him. Can you imagine that? If that's an accurate statement that's being made, not just over-the-top commentary from people to get web hits and whatnot, that would be something else. 50 minutes after 6 o'clock here on the Thursday edition of Clemson Sports Talk. Lowell the intern, Lawton Swan along for the ride. Now, are you in tomorrow, Lowell? I haven't heard confirmation, or you are here tomorrow?
I'm stuck here forever. There is no escape.
It's like the movie Groundhog Day. You're just stuck in a never-ending cycle.
And I'm not hanging out with Bill Murray, so that makes it worse.
Now, your mom's a Bill Murray fan. Does she like Groundhog Day, or is that movie annoying?
I'm sure she does.
My wife can't stand how that movie, now put your little hands, how it always hits that to wake him up the next day, well, the same day. The wife cannot deal with that. The repetition of that just drives her absolutely bonkers. But your mom still appreciates it because your mom loves.
She does love her some Bill Murray.
Dabo Sweeney today, after practice, you mentioned this earlier, was talking about the situation with the tight ends. And we've kind of gotten into that a little bit here on the program, a couple of days ago. I guess we touched on it. And, again, it's one of those places that I'm really looking to keep my eye on. But this is another red flag for me, a little bit of a concern. Clelin Ferrell in concussion protocol. But he is expected to return soon. Here's the thing, though, about concussions that scares me at this point. You've got to be so careful. And the world, and rightfully so, has become uber sensitive to traumatic brain injuries and head trauma. And you know that the coaching staff and the training staff is going to be keeping a very close eye on him. And what scares me is, even though it says is expected to return soon, once you've had a concussion, it is then, easier, I guess you would say, that you could receive another concussion. And when you think about a guy like Sidney Crosby in the NHL, who has had concussions that take him out of seasons virtually, entire years, I would say this, I don't like to see that. I'd much prefer the conversation to be that Clelin Ferrell had a bit of a knee sprain. Little things like that you bounce back from. A concussion, you could certainly come back from it or being in the concussion protocol. But it is scary to think that anytime a guy gets his head knocked around a little bit, he could be on the shelf for a week or two. I mentioned here on the program, yesterday I think it was, talking about watching Last Chance U. And that kid that keeps wanting to go out there, but every time he gets hit, man, he just gets these terrible headaches and feels nauseous because he hasn't gotten through those concussion-like symptoms. Again, being in the concussion protocol doesn't necessarily mean that you're suffering from a significant amount of, concussion symptoms or that you've been severely concussed. But that's one that I think you have to raise a little red flag on, because that's something where you hit your head again and you could be on the shelf for a couple of weeks.
Well, here's the good news. You have 3 weeks before the first game. Here's the better news. The first game is against Kent State. So if you need it, you have 4 weeks to get better before that Auburn game.
And just let him rest up and heal up.
Sure.
again, another injury for the Clemson Tigers that we did mention earlier in hour one. Logan Rudolph, who the Clemson Tiger team is projecting him to move to defensive end at some point along his playing days, is going to be out. He's got a shoulder injury that he's dealing with. Now, how long that takes him out, I don't know. Lowell, did you happen to hear what Dabo Swinney said on that front? Because I did not hear on the Logan Rudolph situation while you were up there. Because I know you were gallivanting around gathering audio from everybody possible.
Well, I know that he's going to have shoulder surgery at some point. I don't know that they've made a decision on when they want to go ahead with that surgery. So I think for now they're just going to have him practice. I don't think they're going to make an immediate decision on whether they want to have that surgery, because I don't think it's something that has to be done right now, but it's going to have to be done at some point.
Clemson's got a scrimmage coming up on Saturday. Dabo Swinney saying in terms of his quarterbacks, he'll be looking at the quarterback's decision making and who plays the best with consistency. Now, right now, the leader in the clubhouse is still Kelly Bryant, but could a scrimmage this weekend make a change for the Clemson Tigers potentially before the beginning of next week? We'll see. Hour 2 coming up. Stay with us.
Brakes for less is what we do. We know drums, rotors, pads, and shoes. If there's a squeal in your wheel, come see the best. 254 stop.
Brakes for less.
Time's running out. It's just about here. If you cater to the bridal market and want to get in front of hundreds of new clients in just one afternoon, you need to be at our next bridal show. Network with other wedding pros, and most importantly, book business. 104.7 WNOK's Fall Bridal Showcase coming up September 17th at the Columbia Metropolitan Convention Center. Presented by Southern Way Catering, Carolina Bride Magazine, American Floral, and Columbia Bridal Associates. Reserve your space now at bridecityshows.com. Don't wait, that's bridecityshows.com.
Looking to get away without having to spend a whole day traveling to your destination? Ocean Reef Resort offers 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom accommodations with the comforts of home and boasts the best oceanfront views. Experience not only our pools, hot tubs, and lazy river, but also our delicious on-site banana boat lounge and cafe, family game room, fitness center, banquet facilities, and much more. Visit us at oceanreefmyrtlebeach.com or call us at 1-866-935-0530 to learn more.
Our customers receive the best heating and air conditioning service in South Carolina. Hi, I'm Tim Mosley, and I can make that statement because that's what our customers tell us every day. We call it quality confirmed. Call us at 803-233-7172, and we'll call you when the job is done to confirm we met your expectations. That's quality confirmed. We're Carolina Conditions, and we're committed to meeting your expectations. 803-233-7172. Call us at 803-233-7172.
You've done the research, Jonathan, and decided on a Honda.
And you waited for just the right time to buy, Gary, and now it's here.
The Honda Summerbration Sales Event
at Honda of Columbia.
We're clearing out every 2017 Honda in stock at the lowest prices of the entire year and giving you a hassle-free buying experience.
Don't wait. The Honda Summerbration Sales Event is the time to buy at Honda of Columbia, your friendly family Honda dealer since 1978.
Highway 378 at I-20 and Honda of Columbia.com.
Mary, you're glowing gold. I know. I joined the Fuel Rewards program and got rewarded with instant gold status at Shell.
And now your body radiates gold?
Yes, and I save 5 cents a gallon on every fill every day.
5 cents a gallon? Wow.
And gold is all the rage this season.
Oh, yeah.
Get rewarded with instant gold status at Shell with the Fuel Rewards program. It's free to join, so join now at fuelrewards.com/gold. Restrictions apply. Active gold status required. Introductory offer valid for 6 months after activation. Limit 20 gallons at participating Shell stations. See fuelrewards.com/gold for full details. Doesn't actually turn bodies gold.
The American Red Cross urgently needs blood and platelet donations and asks donors to schedule an appointment to give now. Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood. Your blood donation is critical and can help save lives. Please, schedule an appointment today. Download the Blood Donor app, visit redcrossblood.org, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. You can make a difference.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving supports victims of drunk driving, drug driving, and underage drinking at no charge. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org.
From the E.F. Martin Heating and Air Studios, this is Fox Sports Radio 1400. WCOS Columbia. Available anywhere you go on the iHeart Radio app.
Fox Sports Trending now.
At the PGA Championship in Charlotte, Thorbjorn Olesen shot 67, leads by 1 stroke. Brooks Koepka is tied for second. 2 back, Ricky Fowler's just concluded a first-round 69, a 71 for Adam Scott and Rory McIlroy. McIlroy a 72. That puts him 5 strokes behind. Phil Mickelson shot 79. Bubba Watson a 77. Sergio Garcia first-round 75. When you're ready to experience a better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar.com today. The night in Major League Baseball about to begin. Washington hosting Miami. Anthony Rendon and the Nationals out due to illness. The Phillies are hosting the Mets and Jacob deGrom, who's 12-5. The Phils called up AAA star Rhys Hoskins, who had 29 homers in the minors. He is starting in left field. Red Sox are off. Yankees and Sonny Gray are at Toronto. I'm Steve DeSager.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set!
Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's prime time right here on Fox Sports Radio and iHeart Radio. Lawton Swan, Lowell, the intern, Lowell. We should apologize. We should apologize to the people who had to listen to that first hour of this program because it was substandard for what we have been doing here on this show for 4 straight years. I like to blame you. I like to blame you for not bringing your A game. I like to blame Clemson Tom as well for not bringing his A game. I thought Tom's performance was weak. I thought your performance was weak. I thought I was terrible. We're going to pick it up in hour 2. Do you agree to that statement, Lowell? We will pick it up in hour 2.
We're closers here on the program. We're closers. We're not like the Falcons. We don't go up 28-3.
No.
And then lose the game.
No, we're like the Patriots. We get down 28-3. I feel down. And now we come storming back here in hour number 2 of the program. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on. It started with the opening segment where I got all discombobulated. You had to straighten me out, and then I never recovered. I just could never quite get my focus back. But now I'm back, Lowell. I'm locked in. You see this, Lowell? I'm the captain.
You ain't in the captain's chair.
Well, that's a good point. That's a great movie. That's beautiful. What is that, Velvet? This is Coming to America, this song here. Lowell, have you seen this one? A cult classic. Lowell told me to put on some. Here, take the remote. What do you put on? Whatever you want to put on, because I'm not really sure.
I want football.
Well, I can't.
Football's got to be on somewhere on this TV.
I can't find it and do the show here. Last night again in Charlotte, Deshaun Watson looked really good. But it was former South Carolina Damiere Byrd, wide receiver, who had the biggest day. As a matter of fact, Damiere Byrd was named the player of the game, according to the Panthers Network. He also said after the game that it's funny, you never really see that orange until you win a national championship. But it was good to be out there and have a good game like that. He also went on to say that Clemson only beat him at South Carolina one time. Damiere Byrd, the former Gamecock, talking about the Clemson Tiger fans in attendance up at the Carolina Panthers Stadium. I thought it was really cool after the game yesterday, seeing all of those former Clemson Tigers together. I also thought that in addition to Damiere Byrd having a very good game, I know he didn't get to play much, but I thought it was great to see Ben Boulware on the field. I got to admit, I kind of miss, as much as I think we're going to all miss Deshaun Watson, I think we're all going to miss watching Ben Boulware play in that Clemson uniform as well. Something else, though, that happened last night during the game that I was kind of taken aback by, and this is something that's never happened for me, watching a team that I typically pull for. I thought the announcers on that game last night were so over the top and pro-Carolina, it was disgusting. They basically made Deshaun Watson sound like he didn't know come here from Sikkim in terms of being a quarterback. Did you find it a little bit concerning that there was not a lot of belief that Deshaun Watson was going to do anything? It was almost like they were surprised when Deshaun Watson would make a play. They're like, oh, wow, Deshaun Watson.
Now, what channel did you watch it on?
Watch Fox 57. Was there another channel to watch it on that I'm unaware of?
Well, I know it was on the NFL Network. I don't know if you managed to get around the blackout or something.
Oh, no. This was the Watch Fox. This was the Carolina Panthers crew that called the game. You know the one that Pete Yanity used to be on? It was the one we had on here in studio. You were in studio when we turned it on.
I guess I just didn't pay attention to the announcers.
What did you watch it on?
Same channel.
Watch Fox?
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't think that the Carolina Panther announcers were just over the top obnoxious and homerish?
I like I said, I just didn't pay attention.
Okay. If you didn't pay attention, you didn't pay attention. I've never felt that way about the home announcers. I was like, golly, these guys, they just don't know that Deshaun Watson's a good quarterback or something. They just don't know. It was like they were shocked every play he made. You know a play that I really was impressed by that he made early on in that game, and unfortunately there was a penalty, where he rolled the pocket and the wide receiver stepped out of bounds and he dumped the ball off. Now, I don't know if that wideout would have been open if he hadn't stepped out of bounds, because a lot of times the defensive backs, when the guy goes out of bounds, they know they don't have to cover them anymore. But a heady play by Watson, kept his eyes up, looked downfield, knew where the line of scrimmage was, dumped the ball off, and I think that's where his versatility is going to really help out the Houston Texans this season. That's where I think he's going to end up ultimately winning that battle between these quarterbacks and being the starting quarterback for the Houston Texans for the majority of the season, is in his ability sit back in the pocket, take a, 3-step drop, survey, pull the ball down, and rush with the football. Or pull the ball down, rush into open space, maintain the line of scrimmage, keep his eyes downfield, and make a deep throw. I was so impressed with just Deshaun Watson's demeanor last night during that game. And I probably shouldn't be, because I've seen it for years and years and years while he was at Clemson. But to see it on the professional level, I'm not going to say gave me hope that he's going to be a good player in the NFL, because I always felt that. But I think he's going to be a good player in the NFL sooner rather than later. Much sooner, as a matter of fact, rather than later. Really enjoyed seeing that. By the way, we mentioned earlier the Clemson Tigers coming off of the practice field, a couple of injuries and so on and so forth. But, Lowell, have you noticed a united front from the coaches in the Atlantic Coast Conference in terms of hyping up the league? And it began at the ACC kickoff, where the hype was about 2 national champions in the past 4 seasons, 2 Heisman Trophy winners in the past 4 seasons. But everywhere you go, it sure feels like the Atlantic Coast Conference's their coaches, their athletic directors, it's almost as if John Swofford handed out papers and said, okay, guys, here are the talking points. Because every coach we talked to about the ACC mentioned winning the national titles, mentioned winning the Heisman trophies, all of that. And it just continues to be one of those things where, the ACC last season, the Big Ten was all the talk. Everybody was talking about the Big Ten. The Atlantic Coast Conference went 6-2 against the Big Ten. The Atlantic Coast Conference went 9-3 overall. Clemson smacked around Ohio State, 31-0. But when you kind of get the memo out there from the ACC right now, it's all about how good this conference is by comparison to everybody else. Even though maybe a lot of people don't agree with that, maybe a lot of people don't think that's actually true. But the memo has clearly been, and maybe it is strategic, given the fact that the Atlantic Coast Conference this year has a legitimate chance to have two teams in the college football playoff. Maybe that part of the reason that John Swofford's got every coach in this league hyping up this league is so that if push comes to shove and Clemson's a one-loss team and Florida State's undefeated, or Clemson's undefeated and Florida State is a one-loss team, that if you can continue to perpetuate the belief that something is true, when the legend becomes fact, print the legend. When people begin to believe the conversations that are out there, then it basically becomes reality. That's a great line, by the way. When the legend becomes fact, print the legend. Do you know what movie that's from, Lowell the Intern? The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. And basically what it means is that when things are spoken about and talked about enough, they become fact. Who chopped down the cherry tree, Lowell?
George Washington?
Yes, but it's not actually true. It's a story to teach kids about being honest. That's kind of what I think the Atlantic Coast Conference is trying to do. I'm not trying to say that the ACC is not going to be a good league. I'm not trying to tell you that Clemson and Florida State aren't good teams. But what I am trying to tell you is if you can get a united front on something, if you can get enough people talking about your league and how good it is, and that begins to be the conversation, and that begins to be the topic that permeates throughout the media about how good this league is, about how great this conference is, what this conference has done, you are essentially building the argument so that when things are playing out during the season, people can say, well, you know what this league has done these past few years. So everybody knows the story at that point, and there's a compelling storyline to make what you want to be the truth to be the truth. When the legend becomes fact, print the legend. I believe what the George Washington story, have you seen Sherman and Mr. Peabody, the new movie?
I have not.
I believe it's called a hydrofoil, is what they call that. I think that's what they call that. Lowell, do you disagree, though? Do you disagree with me, or do you believe that that's part of the MO, that this is a John Swofford Atlantic Coast Conference college football playoff strategy to go ahead and pre-hype, pre-build, predetermine how people feel about the conference? Let's say, let me give, before you answer, let me give you a couple other scenarios. Scenario one is the conference comes out and goes, yeah, we're not very good. And everybody's like, yeah, it's really been tough on this league. We just have not performed well. Not up to our capabilities. Well, then all of a sudden, if you're battling for a playoff spot with another conference, people say, well, remember, this league hadn't been very good. This league's kind of struggled. if you don't say anything, if you don't build the conversation, you don't say anything, then you leave it up to other people to begin determining what your history, your fate. You let other people determine the storyline. But if you control the message and you have a united front on that message and you use statistical data with that message, you begin to build in the buffer necessary to protect your conference when there becomes a conversation behind closed doors in Grapevine, Texas, about which team should be the fourth team into the college football playoff, or what conference should be the last team to get a spot in the college football playoff, or whatever that ends up being for the Atlantic Coast Conference. They have started to build the legend so that people will know those statistics, and hopefully when you're in the middle of a conversation, somebody pipes up in the room and goes, hey, speaking of the ACC, speaking of Florida State, speaking of Clemson, this is what this conference has done. This is what these teams are. You picking up what I'm putting down over there, young Padawan learner?
Well, one can make the argument that this is what the SEC was sort of built on.
I would make the argument that I agree with where you're headed on this.
There were years where the SEC was not particularly strong. Now, don't get me wrong. There were years where this was a very strong conference. You go back to when Florida had Urban Meyer and Nick Saban was becoming a power at Alabama, and
right.
And Auburn was competing for a national championship. There were years where it was a very strong, deep conference. They took that and ran with it, and it became this nobody's even close to the SEC.
When you're 4-3, you're 4-3 because you're playing in such a tough conference, and you're a great team that would be undefeated elsewhere. But because you're playing in such a tough conference, a 4-3 SEC team, that's like a 6-1 team everywhere else in the country.
Right. And
I agree. They did exactly what I am saying. When the legend of how tough and hard and grueling it is becomes fact, you print the legend, and once that's been printed, and once people start believing it, and then you've got those people that don't buy in, and those people who maybe don't get suckered into that conversation, they come on and they're like, Swanee, how can you possibly say that the SEC is a tough conference? Let me tell you why it's not. And they start trying to talk it down, but it's a few people here and there trying to talk down this legend that's been built about a league or a conference, and they had a track record of success. Even now, this conference, the SEC specifically, still trying to live off of that. The problem is Alabama has been so supremely dominant against everybody else in that conference that it's like Alabama and the Seven Dwarfs. Everybody's just like going, oh, I can't quite get there. It's not even close. I saw a note the other day, Lowell, about how many times Alabama's been ranked. I can't remember if it's in the top 5 or whatever in the past decade. 56 for Alabama, and nobody else is even close. Nobody else is even close. I forget what the exact thing was. It was like top 5 rankings, weeks ranked in the top 5 the past 10 years. Some just ridiculous stat that should blow your mind. How far and away better Alabama's been than everybody else. But now in the SEC, LSU's not a factor for them. Auburn's probably not going to push them this year. They'll coast through the SEC East.
And I think part of it was because they were such a tough conference, they never went out and scheduled anybody out of conference, so they just played against each other, and it kind of built up this monster of, Well, they're not playing tough out of conference because they have to play such tough teams in conference, and they can't do both.
Yeah.
And I think where that really took a hit was the 2014 season, where the SEC got smacked in bowl games, and that was where people started to go, maybe they're not as good as we thought they were.
Clemson Sports Talk, Fox Sports Radio, RC Sports Cards on Twitter hits us up. We'll tell you what he had to say when we return.
Love it raw? For the freshest sushi in town, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, 807 Gervais Street in the Vista. Sakatumi's flavorful grill for non-sushi fans features the Kobe burger, filet and lobster, chicken hibachi, and more. Fresh sushi, flavorful grill, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, sakifresh.com.
Do you need lodging for your next Tigers game? To get a real game day experience, skip the hotel and stay close to campus in one of Rent Like a Champion's comfortable vacation homes. You can call Rent Like a Champion, a Mark Cuban company featured on ABC Shark Tank, at 855-BIG-GAME to set up your weekend lodging today.
Hey guys, Lawton Swan here. I was hanging out in the backyard with my son Mason the other day, and he said, "Dad, you're the best father ever." I was like, "What makes you say that, son?" He said, "When I go outside to play now, I don't get eaten up by the bugs anymore." Imagine that, me, a hero, when all I did was just a couple of weeks ago call Trey Powell at Mosquito Joe with their routine service plan. No more bugs and no more bites. Make yourself the family hero. Call Mosquito Joe today, 803-223-7916. Outside is fun again.
Cottingham Family Dentistry is proud to announce the opening of their new office located at 3722 Devon Street, and they're welcoming new patients. What makes Cottingham Family Dentistry different? It's in the name, family. They will cater to your needs and the dental needs of your children. Cottingham Family Dentistry offers same-day crowns, dental implants, cosmetic dentistry, including whitening, veneers, and tooth-colored fillings, and many other dental services. If you're searching for an amazing dental home, call 776-4234 or stop by their new office at 3722 Devon Street and become a part of the family at Cottingham Family Dentistry.
Looking for South Carolina's favorite country? You'll find it at 97.5 WCOS.
Lawton Swan, Lowell nails it. 2014, perhaps the year that the legend was shattered about the SEC, the one that they had said over and over and over. And again, I'm not blaming John Swofford. I'm not blaming the ACC. They've had a very good run. Clemson was in back-to-back national championship games. Florida State won the title in 2013. Jameis Winston won the Heisman Trophy. Lamar Jackson's won the Heisman Trophy. You could argue Deshaun Watson probably should have won one at some point, but did not. But, Lowell, you brought it up. You said, Swanee, 2014 was the year. He said, we were on the air when it was Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and I think Auburn, who were three of the top four teams in the country. And I was like, look, Ole Miss and Mississippi State aren't even going to be there at the end. And then Mississippi State gets beaten fairly soundly. What was the final score on that game against Georgia Tech? 42-14 or 42-17? I don't think that game was close.
It was 49-34, but Georgia Tech was up significantly in that ball game.
And they came back. That was the one where after the game,
Paul Johnson, got into the SEC a little bit.
Ooh, was that good?
But, I mean, you think about the big games, right? The college football playoff games and then the other significant bowl games.
Yeah.
That year, TCU played Ole Miss in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Remember, there was conversation about should TCU or Baylor get into the playoff. And then ultimately neither of them got in, obviously. But TCU came out, smokes Ole Miss 42-3. Georgia Tech takes on Mississippi State in the Capital One Orange Bowl. They lose 49-34. And then the Sugar Bowl, the semifinal game, Ohio State beats Alabama 42-35. So right there, the games that are on a national scale, the SEC totally flops that year.
And definitely not to mention that happened, I guess I would say, on the heels of that conversation always being about how tough it was. And then people were like, "Oh, wait a second. Was that really as tough as you guys claimed it would be? Are things really as tough as the SEC claims?" Roger chimes in. He says, "Swan, the turn of the SEC downslide as a league was when ESPN force-fed us Alabama versus Notre Dame and Bama versus LSU in a rematch." How do you... I got a problem with one of those statements. And I'm going to have to reset it just a little bit, because I got to look at the rest of what happened that season, because I don't remember it all right off with that Alabama-Notre Dame 2013 National Championship. Alabama was 12-1. Notre Dame came in undefeated. Who are the other teams in the top? That's what I was trying to see. Like, who got left out that season, Lowell? Do you have that in front of you? The 2013.
Well, I see. I'm looking at the final rankings, or the final BCS rankings before the national championship.
Yeah. Give me that. Who was after Alabama?
Notre Dame was 1. Alabama was 2. Florida was 3.
What was Florida's record?
11-1. Oregon was number 4 at 11-1. Kansas State was number 5 at 11-1.
Who was for Oregon?
Oregon.
See, this is where I have a tough time buying into this, or buying into Rodgers' first half argument. I don't think it's Alabama's fault that Alabama got to that national championship game. They beat what I'm assuming was an undefeated Florida team in the SEC championship. You said Florida was number 3 at 11-1.
I actually don't think Florida made the SEC championship that year. I think it was because it was that Georgia-Alabama game where Georgia had the ball at like the 5-yard line and ran out of time. I think Florida's one loss that year was to Georgia, and that kept them out of the title game.
I do remember that. This is 2012. 2012. No.
Florida lost to Georgia in Jacksonville 17-9.
Yeah, but I don't think that was that game, because
it was.
That Georgia...
I'm looking at the schedule.
That Georgia-Alabama game, wouldn't that have been the same day as the Clemson-Virginia Tech game?
No, that was 2011. Florida State was in the ACC Championship in 2012.
No. That's what I'm saying. I could have sworn that was the game I watched. I felt like I watched Georgia and Alabama before that Clemson-Virginia Tech game, but I didn't. I watched LSU and Georgia.
I don't... We're talking about the 2012 season, correct? Not 2011. We're talking about 2012.
Yeah, I could... No. What I'm saying is, let me rephrase. I'm saying in 2011,
yes,
when Clemson played Virginia Tech in the ACC championship game, if you'd have bet me dollars to donuts what game I watched at 3:30 before that game, if you said, Swan, what game did you watch? What was the SEC championship game that was on before Clemson and Virginia Tech? I would have bet you $100 that was Aaron Murray or whoever throwing a pass right at the end of the game that Georgia got beat by Alabama. Like, I would have no doubt bet that was the case.
Nope, it was Georgia LSU.
How did that game go? Was that a close game?
No. LSU won 42-10.
In my mind, in my brain, I watched that other game right before that. That's incredible.
2012, Georgia went 12-2 through one loss in the regular season at South Carolina. I remember that game. They lost.
Carolina dominated
35-7.
Carolina crushed it. They're up 28-0 before you could blink an eye.
And then they lost to Alabama 32-28 in the SEC championship, with a chance to win at the end.
So Florida finished third. They didn't win the SEC East.
Nope.
Their one loss was to Georgia, who got beat by Alabama at the very end. Alabama's one loss that year was to 2002.
I can't even tell you, actually. Let me look.
Me and you both. It's amazing how these things start to run together.
Texas A&M.
Is that Johnny Manziel?
That was the debut of Johnny Manziel.
Man.
And that was the point in which, because that happened in November.
Yeah.
So that was like, well, Alabama's done because they just lost the game in November. And then they were not done. The dynasty was not dead.
803. Phone line's not working. Shane Dorr coming up from Palmetto Championship Wrestling here in just a few minutes on Clemson Sports Talk tonight. Golly. I thought I disagreed. I still think I do disagree because I don't know who else you would have put in there at that point. I mean, you just said that. It was Alabama, Florida.
That Oregon team was very good.
Who beat Oregon? Southern Cal?
Stanford.
Stanford
was also very good.
I can't blame Alabama. I don't feel like I can't blame. I mean, then they went out and beat an undefeated Notre Dame team. Whose fault is that? Is that Alabama's fault that Notre Dame was undefeated?
No, but Notre Dame hadn't played anybody all year and had a bunch of close calls.
Whose fault is that?
The BCS.
Yeah, that's not Alabama's fault, and that's not the SEC's fault. I guess that's the ultimate thing. Shane Dorr coming up here on Clemson Sports Talk.
iHeartRadio wants nothing more than to bring you closer to your favorite artists.
This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
So we've updated the iHeartRadio app. No, it's an upgrade. All your favorite music and stations, easier to find. Getting you closer to the music you love with just a tap.
This is Taylor Momsen from The Pretty Reckless, and this is iHeartRadio.
All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free. Download and open the new iHeartRadio app today.
When a stroke happens, every second counts. So don't drive and call 911 to get to the emergency department as soon as possible. At Lexington Medical Center, we're pleased to serve our community. As a certified primary stroke center, our acute stroke team rapidly evaluates patients and provides them with the fastest treatment possible. This specialized care limits the chance of brain damage and gives stroke patients a better chance of full recovery. Act quickly at the first sign of a stroke and count on the Stroke Center at Lexington Medical Center to provide you with the best possible care.
Have you been thinking about sprucing up your yard, debating between pine straw or mulch? Call my friends at Carolina Turfgrass to get your yard looking as great as mine right now. I chose to go with pine straw this year, and it looks incredible. Carolina Turfgrass is conveniently located at 5400 Augusta Road in Lexington, and if you need your order delivered, they can take care of that too. In addition, Carolina Turfgrass carries a wide variety of turfs, including Centipede and Bermuda. For unmatched quality and service, call Carolina Turfgrass, 446-6525. Look for Carolina Turfgrass on Highway 1 in Lexington.
Our customers receive the best heating and air conditioning service in South Carolina. Hi, I'm Tim Mosley, and I can make that statement because that's what our customers tell us every day. We call it quality confirmed. Call us at 803-233-7172, and we'll call you when the job is done to confirm we met your expectations. That's quality confirmed. We're Carolina Conditions, and we're committed to meeting your expectations. 803-233-7172. Call us at 803-233-7172.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman-Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? but to order at Kaufman's Meeting Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meeting Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
The clouds will linger overnight and the lows will dip down to the low 70s. Tomorrow there will be some pokes of sun, but some scattered late-day storms will be in play as well, and highs mid to upper 80s. For Channel 25 ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is brought to you by Fred Anderson Toyota of Columbia.
Toyota's national clearance is underway at Fred Anderson Toyota of Columbia. Get 0 APR for 72 months on new 2017 Camrys and RAV4s, plus $1,000 APR bonus cash. Fred Anderson Toyota of Columbia.
Excludes TTL and includes $398 closing fee, zero down. Approved credit based on $1,389 per thousand financed.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
There it is. Here comes the money, hanging out with us tonight here on the show that shakes the Southland. Shane Dorr, Palmetto Championship Wrestling on the Thursday edition. He's New York's greatest export. Shane, what's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
Doing good,
hey,
man.
I got to say, I just pulled out the Shane O'Mac jersey, the pumps, the kicks. I'm doing my little dance here in the living room. Yeah, you got me all hyped up there, brother.
Yeah, now, oh, goodness, you're getting Lowell all hyped up over
now,
here.
what? Did I not tell you he would love that? Come on.
Listen, I got to ask you this, Shane, before we talk about what you guys got going on coming up for folks here in the Midlands at Palmetto Championship Wrestling. I got to ask you, do you get into the wrestling video games at all? Are the wrestling video games any good?
I think my favorite wrestling video game, of course, I'm a big fan on today's generation gaming, of course.
Oh, I know where you're going. You're going all-time N64.
WWF No Mercy.
Which one was that? Was that on the N64?
WWF No Mercy on the N64 and WrestleMania 2000. Those two video games on the N64 are the absolute best wrestling video games of all time.
I would agree with that statement. I don't remember if it was No Mercy or the other one, but I remember there was one where you had the Royal Rumble. Oh, so good. So
absolutely.
Good.
They just don't make them like they used to anymore.
The other game that was really good on the Nintendo 64, if I may, King Griffey Jr. Baseball. And what was that old football game, Blitz or whatever?
Oh, the arcade-style game, Blitz. And remember Slugfest?
I don't remember Slugfest.
Slugfest was like the baseball version of Blitz. And you could charge the mound and beat people up at the
oh yeah, you wrestling types you like anytime somebody's getting beat up. I understand that.
Yeah, I'm full of violence, brother. Full of violence.
Shane Dorr here on Clemson Sports Talk again at the Vive Church here in Columbia. That's on Clemson Road, August the 25th. That's a Friday night. You guys have nowhere to run coming to town. I know you guys got to be excited about it.
Absolutely, man. And after the success of the last show, which was July 7th, we had over 230 people pack this church. I mean, out of chairs, people standing room only, and the success of that show has made it to where we were given the opportunity to make this venue a regular venue in Columbia. At least every 2 months in Columbia, we will be at Vive Church. So, August 25th is just us continuing from July. I mean, we're kicking on all cylinders, and it's going to be an awesome, awesome show on August 25th. Better than July 7th, if that's even possible.
Now, Shane, the last time you were here, we were talking about the upcoming event, and you had your hands full, so to speak. But my guy Rob Sanders tells me that the match you guys had, what's the big kid's name you were wrestling?
That's the Deadly Sin 7.
Yeah, the Deadly Sin 7. Yeah, I wanted to call him 7, but I wasn't sure what the first part was. Talk to me about that matchup.
It was what everybody expected it to be. It was just extremely, extremely hard hitting. Very, very physical. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, there's nothing you can do. And, toward the end of the match, I pulled out all the stops. I don't know how familiar, how much you were told by Rob Sanders, but it ended me super kicking 7 square in the face.
Nice.
I got the collection plate, and, his little manager, Father Darkness, hopped up on the apron. And all of a sudden you hear a clink.
Oh, nice.
And it echoed through the church because the church got these soundboards on the walls that make every sound. You can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And I go to the crowd and I see, one of your fans, one of Clemson Sports Talk's fans, Brian Rucker.
Brian Rucker. Yeah.
He was sitting front row, and I saw him, and I'm like, oh yeah. I grab his chair from him, clink, set it right in 7's face. I go to the top rope, hit that patented Shane McMahon Hail Mary.
Oh.
And then it was coast to coast, brother. 1, 2, 3.
Nice. And the fans are on their feet. That's exciting, man. I missed it. I told you when you were here, I didn't know what it would look like with the 4th of July. I am so disappointed that I wasn't able to get over there to the Vive Church. But again, for people who enjoy good wrestling, reasonable prices to get in, you're going to love this. Again, it's August the 25th. Nowhere to run. I keep wanting to call it a pay-per-view. I guess technically it is. You got to pay to view it. You got to show up over there at the Vive Church. That's 2630 Clemson Road here in Columbia. Shane, what are the going rates, and where can people learn more, and how can they get their hands on some tickets?
Well, I can tell you, as soon as we announced that we were returning to Vive, front row seats sold out in less than 2 hours.
Wow.
It was absolutely crazy. I got phone calls, messages, and they were sold out. And now we're about out of tickets, General Admission, because unfortunately this venue is a smaller venue and is limited seating. So I urge everybody to, contact me, contact Palmetto Championship Wrestling on Facebook, Palmetto CW on Twitter. So message us for tickets because they're almost gone. And once they're gone, that's it. But I got to tell you a little bit. I got to tell you a little secret, Swan. I was a little nervous hitting that coast to coast. You know what got me through it though? You know what allowed me to hit it?
What's that?
All I envisioned was Clemson Tom's face right there.
Yeah.
I saw it directly across the ring, and I nailed it. Both feet square in the face. New York's greatest export footprint. Boom, right in his face. I hope he can hear that.
Well, I talked to him the other day, and I got to admit, I think he's been training. I think he wants a match.
Oh, he doesn't have to look far. He doesn't have to look far. Columbia, South Carolina. He can come August 25th. He can come any one of our shows. I'm there. I'm at every one.
Shane Dorr. I love it, man. Palmetto Championship Wrestling. PCW-Pro.com's the website. We got about a minute left, Shane. Again, man, we always appreciate your time. We love talking a little wrestling. I got to get over there. Listen, can you make me one promise?
Absolutely.
If I get over there before the people arrive, can I get in the ring? I just want to take a bump off the rope. That's all I want to do.
I'll make it happen. But you got to show up though.
Yeah. No, listen. I'll be your manager. That's it. I'll be your manager. The Mouth of the South. Well, Jimmy Hart's got that. I'll have to come up with a better name.
We'll come up with something for you, Swanee.
I hear you, man. Listen, Shane Dorr, New York's greatest export, here on Clemson Sports Talk tonight, talking about Palmetto Championship Wrestling. Learn more about them, PCW-Pro.com, and they're over on Facebook. Shane, man, appreciate it. Keep up the great work for every wrestling fan here in the Midlands. I know they love it.
Absolutely, so I look forward to having you on the show, brother. Thank you again.
There he is. That's fun. Lowell the intern, when are you going to join up? When are you going to join up? New York's greatest export, Shane Dorr. When is Lowell? That could be your name, Lowell the intern. You're just kind of a pipsqueak-looking guy. What are you doing over there, Lowell? We're in the middle of a segment here. What are you doing? Checking your Facebook? Hopefully you're ordering tickets to Palmetto Championship Wrestling.
Absolutely.
There he is. We're back in 3. Final segment.
Pit Stop Convenience Stores and Coca-Cola are partnering to give you free Eclipse watching glasses, and they're available right now at every pit stop. Just buy any Coca-Cola product, get a pair of Eclipse glasses free. Limit one per customer while supplies last. Don't stop till you're at Pit Stop.
For 28 years, the professional staff of the Hobbs Group and Hobbs Group Advisors has been dedicated to helping others achieve their financial goals by delivering quality, objective financial and accounting solutions to a diverse client base of individuals and businesses all over South Carolina. We offer tax and audit services, bookkeeping, payroll, litigation support, employee benefits, personal financial planning, investment management, and insurance services. Please call us at 803-799-0555 or visit our website, hobbscpa.com, to learn more about our people and services.
Lawton Swan here, and I know in sports we're always talking about the big guy. Well, let me tell you, when you're buying a car, you don't need that. What you need to do is head down to Orangeburg to my good friends at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. 4 generations of family-owned business right there at Ferry Chevrolet. No dock fees, no tricks, straightforward pricing in a low-pressure environment you'll love. Check them out online, ferrychevrolet.com, or call them 803-536-1600. It's Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac, just a short 30-minute drive off of exit 145A in Orangeburg. Tiger fans, look no further than the Tiger Sports Shop in Clemson for all your game day gear. Since 1974, they've brought you everything Clemson for the Clemson fan, with quality brand names such as Nike, Under Armour, Antigua, Ping, and many more. From hats to t-shirts to tailgate, the Tiger Sports Shop has all the Clemson apparel a true Tiger fan needs. With 2 convenient game day locations in Tigertown, shop where I shop at I Am Ibrahim's Tiger Sports Shop. They fuel the passion of Tiger fans everywhere. Check them out online, tigersports.com.
For more information about contests on this station, go to foxsportsradio1400.com/rules. Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan, the artist formerly known as Lowell the Intern. Brian Rucker on Twitter, can't believe he got a shout out from New York's greatest export, Shane Dorr, here on the program. You know, I really want to see you get in the squared circle, Lowell. You're still job hunting. Maybe you could be a wrestler. Maybe that's where your future is. I mean, you've got natural charisma, incredible good looks, the body of an Adonis. Do I need to go on?
Please go on.
Yeah. Yeah. What would your name be, Lowell, if you were a wrestler?
I don't know. I don't know.
Would you ever consider just being Lowell the Intern and, like, go to the ring carrying papers and kind of be befuddled? Like, the way your guy would win matches, it would be accidental. You know what I mean? Like, you'd stumble into victories. And that would be the thing that was, like, incredible. You get...
Like during the match, I drop my pen on the ground, and I bend down to pick it up, and the guy rams into the post or something, and then I just roll him up.
Right. Like, the guy goes to give you a leg drop or a drop kick, and you duck to bend over to pick up your pocket protector, and then while he's down, I don't know. You accidentally trip trying to come off the ropes and just happen to fall on him, and your legs are sitting on him for the 1, 2, 3. Lowell the Intern. Who would you be in wrestling? Would you be masked? Would you mask up? Or?
No, I don't. I wouldn't do a mask. I know the name's been taken already.
Uh-oh.
But
I would go mask.
But I think I'd have to go with the Italian Stallion.
Rocky Balboa?
It's actually been a wrestling name already too. But
yeah,
hey, I'm Italian. I'm a stallion. What can I say?
Oh, here we go, guys. Gimmicks underway. I would go with a mask, and I would call myself El Swanador.
By the way, the Italian Stallion was from Charlotte, North Carolina.
The wrestler?
Mm-hmm.
Who was he?
Gary Sabal.
Don't remember him. I would be El Swanador. I would wear a mask. An orange and purple mask.
He trained the Hardy Boys.
El Swanador. I'd be a lucha libre guy.
El Swanador. That's like Spanish for a fighting chicken or something.
Or a fighting swan, maybe.
Come on, you don't get my reference there?
No, I don't get your reference. The fighting chicken.
Oh, that makes me sad.
What, is that Gamecocks?
No, that's a movie reference. Talladega Nights. Please tell me you've seen Talladega Nights.
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't remember that part.
El Diablo? Spanish for like a fighting chicken or something.
Okay, now you're making sense, man. Now you're making sense. Mikey Whipwreck. Yeah, remember him from the ECW? He was kind of a I don't even really know how to explain what he was, really. He was just a guy that took a bunch of bumps, if I remember, back in the day at ECW. Just kind of stumbled into wins. People couldn't believe that he was winning matches that he was winning. That would be low. Good point, Brian. I always want to give out the phone number. We don't have a phone number. We do have a text line brought to you by the Ocean Reef Resort, 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. The Clemson Tiger men's basketball team competing overseas today. Dante Grantham, Lowell, we asked the question, could Dante Grantham show up? Well, apparently he did. He showed up to the tune of 25 points for the Clemson Tigers in 25 minutes. Clemson put together a 19-3 run in the second quarter and overwhelmed, wait for it, Euro Collegio Casavi 108-65 on Thursday
That sounds
night.
like a powerhouse to me.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. We're playing basically the entire European collegiate Savis, whatever that means. You're supposed to be the one that can announce that, Italian Stallion. That sounds like an Italian club. Euro Collegio. 25 points, though, from Dante Grantham.
I like it. That
4 threes in the first quarter.
Now, see, I don't like that. I would have preferred there were,
7 of 10 on three-pointers tonight.
Yeah, but he's not going to do that consistently in ACC play. I would have preferred to hear that he was aggressive driving to the rim and finishing through contact, and because he needs to be that guy. He needs to be a guy who can get to the rim with his size.
25 points for Dante Grantham. Easily the biggest story coming out of there, because the question we had at the end of basketball season was, can Dante Grantham carry this team? Well, so far it looks like he may be the guy that carries them. I don't know if he'll be able to do it like you say in the Atlantic Coast Conference, but 25 points in a victory over in Spain for Dante Grantham. By the way, if you're wanting to know what other players did today, Marquise Reed gave you 10 points, 2 rebounds on 4 of 7 from the floor. Gabe DeVoe with 9 points, 6 boards on 13 of 12 shooting, 2 of 8 from downtown. Elijah Thomas, Big Eli, gives you 10 points on 4 or 5 shooting. David Scara give you 9 points, 4 of 7 from the field with 5 rebounds. Grantham, we mentioned him, 25-5 on 9 for 14 and 7 of 10 from 3. Clyde Trapp gives you 9 points on 3 of 6 shooting. Lyles Davis played sparingly. Mark Donal, I guess is how you say Mark's name, sparing minutes. Isaac Fields, nothing, played 7 minutes. Malik William was 5 of 6 2 of 4 from the free throw line for 12 points and 9 rebounds. A.J. Oliver played sparingly with 2 points and 21 points for Amari Sims. So Amari Sims with 21 points, 5 rebounds on 8 of 14 shooting. And you know, by comparison to Marquise Reed, it sure looks like perhaps Sims, played 18 minutes, actually got more playing time than Marquise Reed. Must have had a pretty hot hand to get out there. But there you go. These guys playing overseas in Madrid, getting ready for the season, kind of getting some extra playing time in and a good opportunity to build some camaraderie, and they'll need that. I can tell you, in addition to Dante Grantham with 25, in order to win a lot of games in the ACC, I think that Elijah Thomas has to be a double-double guy for Clemson. Again, I think Marquise Reed's going to have to be a bigger factor than he was today, and Gabe DeVoe cannot be a 2-for-8 3-point shooting guy because he loves to shoot the three. He's got to be more consistent there for Clemson. But, again, preseason, practice, Dante Grantham, 25 points. That's a lot better than talking about Dante Grantham having 2 or 5 points. I will give you that at this point in the year. But that news just coming out a few minutes ago from Tim Beret. Tomorrow, the Friday edition of the program, of course, we'll hear from senior writer for Clemson Sports Talk. Zach Lentz will be joining us. Lowell, the intern, will be in the building. And I am sure that there will be much more news coming out of Tiger Town again as they prepare for their first scrimmage of the first scrimmage of the fall inside Death Valley on Saturday. Lowell, the intern, any other news making headlines as we head out the door here on the program this evening? Anything breaking? Not a word?
Not particularly.
Nothing big. Just Dante Grantham.
Just Dante Grantham. Drive to the rim, Dante. Drive to the rim.
There
Don't
it is.
settle.
Get to the hoop. For Lowell, the artist formerly known as Intern, I'm Lawton Swan. Until tomorrow night, as always, y'all take care now. And go Tigers!
Need custom shirts, hats, or uniforms? How about promotional giveaways for your business or organization? Need fast turnaround times? Look no further than Meridian Printing and Promotions. Located in Lexington, they provide an in-house art department, in-house screen printing, and in-house embroidery services to the Midlands and beyond. For the absolute best quality products and services, contact Meridian